All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. I'm using my headset since I am currently away from my dorm at the moment, so I do not have access to my really good mic. But here we are, picking up right after we left off. Here we go, Chapter 7, Plan of Action. I wake up to Adton's voice telling me to wake up. I begin to open my eyes and sit up. I need to really change this sentence. Oh my goodness. I slept better than I thought I would. Guards just showed up. They said we have 5 minutes before they take us to the preparation room, Adton says while sitting down. At least we got to sleep before the fight, I say while yawning. You slept like a rock. You must have been pretty tired, Adton says while standing up again, beginning to warm up. How are we planning on doing this? Obviously, they will kill us if we do anything that looks suspicious. But then again, they allowed us to be in the same cell, I tell Adton while standing up. King Irvin put us here for a reason. I think he actually is on our side. Just think about it. He even said that he had to agree to the other kingdoms. A public display of why we should allow magic to exist is perfect to do during a massive event. Adton explains to me while walking over to the door. That actually makes sense. Do you think he wants us to escape? I ask Adton while moving my hand under my chin so I can rest my head. Yes, but probably not in the way we are going to escape, Adton says while turning towards me. About that, I have only practiced my magic on my own in the woods. I've never had to use it in actual combat, I tell Adton while he walks towards me. I know enough to get me out of a dangerous situation, but to fight? That's a whole other story. I'm sure you will do fine. We can start with sword combat first. Then you can start using your magic, Adton explains while looking off to the side. Sword combat isn't my strongest suit, but I'm sure I'll still be able to beat you, I tell Adton in a cocky tone. Sword combat is my speciality, Adton says while looking directly into my eyes. Oh, really? If that was the case, why did you end up on the ground that one time and needed my help? I ask Adton jokingly. That doesn't count. I was using a rod. A rod is very different from a sword, Adton says defensively. Uh-huh, I tell Adton while walking past him. I never asked you this last night, even though I wanted to. I've been trying to make some connections on who could have attacked our villages. Do you know who attacked yours? Adton asks me in a curious tone. I never did tell him what I saw through my sword's memories, did I? When I picked up my father's sword, it showed me the memory of my father just before he died. I saw a halation kill him, but I don't think it was just any halation. I think it was the ruler himself. He had the crown of hell on his head, as well as the armor made of the ore from hell. However, the soldiers who took my brother looked just like the soldiers that burned my village back during the initial attack. I tell Adton, trying to remember as many details as possible. No way, Adton says in a surprised but panicked tone. What? I ask him. I have reason to believe that the soldiers that took your brother are connected to the person who destroyed my village. Tians, from the Flarian tribe. Why would they be fighting alongside the armies of hell? I ask Adton in a confused tone. I would assume it's because both want to destroy the kingdoms. I don't think they are fighting for the same reasons, though. Regardless, it's a problem we're going to have to look into later, Adton tells me while heading towards the door. Later? It sounds like a pretty big problem that should be getting looked into now, I say, raising my voice a little bit. We won't be able to do anything if the kingdoms are united against us, Adton says while walking closer to me. Good point, I tell Adton while looking down. All right, time's up. We are taking you to the preparation chambers. You will find your weapons and accessories there, as well as other items you may want to use provided from the kingdom, the guards say while opening the door. You ready? Adton asks me while walking out of the cell. Not really, I tell him while walking behind him. The guards took us out of the cell and began to walk us to our preparation room. Along the way, we saw many paintings on the wall of the history of our world. Once we pass through that area, we then approach a large door. The door is made of wood and has some plating of metal on it. This is the preparation chamber. Once you grab your gear, you will each walk to the opposite sides of the Colosseum. Once the gates open, you will then approach each other and the fight will begin. Whoever wins will be able to walk away without any punishment. Whoever loses, if you're still left alive, will have to serve the rest of his time in jail or be executed, the guards explained to us before opening the door. The large door is opened as clouds of dust fall onto the floor. Once it fully opens, a large room is revealed full of weapons, armor, and other items. Swords, maces, axes, hammers, halberds, javelins, spears, bows, and other miscellaneous weapons line the walls. Whoa, this is a lot more stuff than I was expecting, I say to Adton in amazement. I'm just as surprised as you are, Atten says while beginning to walk into the room. Right down the middle of the walkway are our swords lying against the wall. We both walk directly to where the swords are and pick them up. We both look at them to make sure they are not damaged or tampered with. I don't know about you, but I need a fresh change of clothes, as well as maybe a bath, Atten says while looking at me. Yeah, I could probably go for a change of clothes as well as some armor too, I tell Atten while looking at a set of shiny metallic purple armor. The person who made this armor knows my taste. It also is the only set of female armor I see around here so far. I then walk over and begin grabbing a few pieces of the armor. I notice that there is a piece of gold shoulder armor that goes over the left shoulder, while the rest of the armor is purple. If Atten says anything weird while I'm wearing this armor, I'm going to punch him. I grabbed a change of clothes I could change into after the fight and put them into a bag that was laying on the floor. While grabbing these items, I also noticed some foods and medicines on the table that I also decided to throw into the bag. Once I gathered the stuff, I walked into one of the changing rooms and put my armor on. The inside of the armor had black cloth that provided some additional comfort, which was nice. I can actually move around very well in this armor. I wonder what Atten is wearing. I then step out of the changing room to see Atten all dressed and ready to go, his 2 swords sheathed on his back. He changed out his clothes and is wearing a tiny bit of leather armor. The leather armor is all separate pieces attached to the shoulders, arms, and chest. Whoa, Atten says while looking at my armor. It is nice, though it still leaves me a little exposed in some areas. Don't get the wrong idea, I tell him while walking past him, sheathing my sword. I'm not much of a fan of armor, so I just grabbed this leather padding. You, on the other hand, managed to find an armor that looks amazing and provides you with easier, flexible movement, Atten says while messing with his armor. I'm a little surprised you didn't grab some better armor or a shield, but then again, you are a little skinny. And you don't have that good of a physical strength either, I tell him while trying not to sound mean. Yeah, heavy armor I can't wear. It limits my movement. And I choose not to use shield since I could only use one of my swords. Besides, shield would only slow me down. I may not be strong, but I am fast and agile. I use my speed and skill to my advantage, Atten says in a confident tone. And that's funny. You fight the exact opposite way I fight. I focus on strength and precision, while also being able to be flexible, I say to him as we approach the long hallway that goes all the way around the Colosseum. Well, this is it. Remember, sword combat first, then magic. We gotta make it look normal first, Atten says while turning towards me. Atten, I hope you are serious when you say you are good with a sword, because I can't hold back much. If we're gonna make this look believable, at least, I tell him in an unsure tone. Don't worry about me. I have a little trick up my sleeve I've been saving up till now, Atten says while he begins to walk down the hallway. What is he planning? Whatever it is, I need to be ready for it, if we are going to get out of here, at least. I then double-check all the items in the bag to make sure everything is ready to go. Clothes, medicine, and food. Good. Everything is good to go once this fight ends. I begin to walk down the hallway. I can hear the loud cheers and stomping feet of all the spectators in the arena as they await us to come out. Once I reached the gate leading into the arena, a few guards greeted me. If I'm being honest, I'm rooting for you to win. That other guy, I don't like him so much, the guard says as he leads me to the gate. As much as I would like to make a comment, I need to remain focused. I reach down to my side and grab the handle of my sword with my right hand. As I start to unsheath it, I then get another memory, but this time from my past, through my eyes. Nix, come here, my dear, my dad says to me. Yes, Pa, I say to him. My father then shows me the view of our village from the top of the hill. The statues of my ancestors stand off in the distance, and a beautifully golden sunset is occurring. These people will one day be your people. You will be their queen, and it will be your duty to protect them. Remember the source of our strength. In order to wield the magic of the dragons, you must have a clear mind and balanced emotions, my father explains to me. If we are the people of the dragon, why are there no dragons, I ask him. They are hiding in their realm. They will return one day, when the world needs them. But for right now, we are the guardians of this realm, my father says to me. The memory fades out and I return to the current moment. The gate begins to open and I get blinded briefly by the sunlight. Forgive me, Father, for I have failed to protect my people. I failed to protect my brother. But the one thing I will not fail to do is to avenge you. Chapter 8, The Colosseum. I begin walking out into the arena, observing the large crowd of people gathered here. Many different people and races are present throughout the arena, cheering as they stand and celebrate the event. In front of me, I see Adton approaching, putting his hand above his face as a little bit of wind kicks up some sand where he is standing. There's no going back now. I look up into the sky and see some storm clouds approaching, the bright blue sky slowly being overtaken by the gray and black clouds. Thunder rolls through the sky as the sound echoes off the walls of the arena. I then feel a raindrop hit my face as the cool air begins to blow. Adton was right. And now I know what he meant by hearing thunder today. I then take my bag and set it on the ground before grabbing my sword. I unsheath my sword, but it doesn't glow. I look at the cold black blade, waiting for it to activate. Oh no, why isn't it glowing? Why now? I then get in a defensive stance, holding the sword upright, protecting my center body and face. Adton then stops walking towards me and unsheaths one of his swords. It worked earlier. Why can't I activate it? Adton then starts walking towards me as he begins to talk. Nix, just to tell you now, if I hurt you, I'm sorry, but this has to look believable. Don't hold back. I can keep up with you, he says as he begins to swing his sword towards my left side. I move my sword to block the strike, as he then quickly ricochets his sword off and swings towards my head. Okay then, no holding back. I then block the sword strike towards my head. Once blocked, I then swing towards Adton's neck as he unsheathes his second sword and blocks my sword strike while maneuvering around the block and building up momentum to swing his swords back towards me. Adton then throws multiple quick sword strikes at me as I struggle blocking all the attacks with my one sword. He is fast. I can't keep up with his attacks. I hit harder, but he just blocks and maneuvers so quickly that my attacks mean nothing. He really does know what he's doing. I then swing my sword down with full force aimed at his head as he blocks it with both of his swords. I then take advantage of this brief pause to kick him in the chest, knocking him onto his back. Once he falls onto the ground, I swing another attack towards him as he rolls out of the way and gets back onto his feet. I swing again, only for Adton to back up and dodge the attack as he moves in to attack with his right sword, while defending himself with his other sword. I block a swing to my left side, briefly locking swords with him. He then swings his other sword towards me, forcing me to disengage. He is actually better at sword combat than I am. I need to resort to my magic, but it isn't working for some reason. You're not half bad with a sword. If I only had one sword, this fight would be much more evenly matched. You never fail to impress me, Adton says while leaning in for another attack. Block. Block! As he swings his sword, I just barely manage to move out of the way, just far enough for his sword to scrape my shoulder armor, cutting a few pieces of my hair off. Adton then launches another flurry of attacks that I struggle to defend against, each swing getting harder and harder to block in time. Just as I begin to run out of breath, I swing my sword towards him, throwing him off balance as he tries to dodge it. Taking advantage of this moment a second time, I kick Adton again, even harder than I did last time, throwing him back a ways and onto the ground. I lower my sword to my side, extending the tip of the blade away from me, holding the sword with my right hand. In order to wield the magic of the dragons, you must have a clear mind and balanced emotions, I heard the words of my father say. While Adton gets back up, I take a deep breath, beginning to focus on my mind. I need to focus. Adton then runs towards me, launching another strike towards my head. I then am able to breathe clearly and easily again as I focus my energy on blocking the incoming attack. I raise my sword up above my head sideways to block the attack. Just as his swords clash with mine, a large aura of purple energy ignites and sends Adton flying backwards. I then look back down at my sword and see the blade is now glowing purple again, with a slight amount of crackling energy around it. I did it! I got my power back! Now time to show him what I'm really capable of. I then focus on the muscles in my back as I begin to subconsciously activate the powers of my ancestors. I feel dragon wings sprout from my back. Looking over my shoulder, I begin to see the translucent, purple glowing dragon wings. The crowd then erupts in shock, and for a brief moment, there is silence. I then look in front of me in the direction where Adton landed. In the direction where Adton landed. Tongue twister. A large cloud of sand and dust is concealing him. Just then, more raindrops begin trickling down as I stare into the plume of dust Adton is hiding in. I hope he's okay. Oh no. Did I kill him? Before I can move towards him to check on him, a blue glow then forms in the clouds of dust. The clouds above the Colosseum then start to surge with bright blue lightning. Just then, a large lightning bolt strikes the ground where the cloud of dust is. The light of the lightning blinds me as I raise my hand up in front of my eyes to shield myself from the light. The loud bang of thunder vibrates through my chest as my body rattles from the energy of the strike. The air feels like it's vibrating. I jump at the sudden loud noise and bright flash. For a brief moment through my fingers, I see the lightning fade into yellow beads just before another flash occurs. The lightning stops. My ears begin to ring and my eyes begin to readjust to the environment as I raise my sword in front of me to defend myself. Just then, Adton walks out of the cloud, holding both of his swords down to his side. No freaking way. Adton opens his eyes and looks directly at me as his eyes begin to glow blue, and the lightning etched in his swords glow the same color. As he raises his swords up, lightning begins to crackle around them in random directions as he charges towards me with a smirk on his face. He is a Tian. That shock I felt when I grabbed his hand that one time. It was from him, not me. I then enter a defensive stance and form a purple shield in front of me to block his attack. As soon as his swords clash with my plasma shield, lightning follows afterwards and collides with my shield, forming a massive shockwave, sending us both flying backwards. Before I hit the ground, I use my wings to hover just before I hit the ground and land softly. Our powers canceled each other out and created a shockwave. Suddenly, Adton dashes at lightning speed over to the side of the arena wall and shoots a lightning bolt at me. I try to block the attack but fail due to the insane speed of the attack. I get hit with the lightning and get launched back. My body burns with a jolting and excruciating pain. The inside of my body sizzles as I am blinded by a white flash. I try to move my body but fail too as my muscles tense up. I barely even feel myself hit the ground. I try to scream to help relieve the pain but can't as my body slowly starts to get its feeling back. The surface of my skin burns as the metal cools off over my bare skin. My heart starts skipping and beating uncontrollably as it tries to recover from the sudden shock. The air begins to get a burning smell as I come back to my senses. I then slowly start to move my arms and legs as I try to stand up. I grab my sword as my hands are shaking and begin to feel a hot tingling in my fingers. Ow, ow, that hurt. I then see Adton slowly approaching me as lightning crackles off his sword. I then gather what strength I have recovered to lift my sword and shoot a beam of purple energy towards him. He barely blocks the beams with his swords, shooting lightning at the beam as another large shockwave forms, blowing us both back. I toss and roll a few times before I get my feeling back into my body. My arms and legs flare up a sharp pain as my muscles once again try to get back to normal. I use my wings to fly into the air to get an advantage, struggling to get airborne. He wasn't kidding when he said go all out, I say to myself, moving my shoulder to get the soreness out. Adton then shoots up into the sky as lightning from the clouds strike him from all directions. He then redirects the lightning towards me with his swords, and I shield the attack with another shield of energy. Boom! Another large shockwave occurs and sends me flying through the sky. I then try to steady myself using my wings as I go flying backwards. I didn't see where Adton went. Flying isn't working as well as I thought it would. I then land back on the ground and hold my sword up back into another defensive stance. Adton then charges me with lightning trailing behind him as we clash swords once again. This time, he hits with more force, as I almost fail to push back his attack. I push forward my sword, using all my body weight, and shoot an arch of purple energy towards him, sending him flying backwards. Adton's back hits the wall of the arena as he falls to the ground, slightly trying to recover from the attack. I got him. That's payback for hitting me with lightning. I raise my sword again, preparing for another quick attack from Adton. I look around the arena to see guards slowly lining the walls. As I am observing this, it begins to rain as more thunder rolls through the sky. Adton then charges through the smoke created by me hitting him as he locks swords with me once again. I told you I could keep up, Adton says while he disengages. I wasn't expecting you to actually hit me, I yell out at him in frustration. We then begin clashing swords again, blocking and striking constantly back and forth. We are now more evenly matched in sword combat as we are able to easily outmaneuver each other's attacks. While attacking, I noticed that the leather armor Adton was wearing was gone, as a few patches of it remain on him due to the attack I landed on him. I shoot another blast at him while he dodges it and fires more lightning at me. I raise my sword in reaction to his attack as I block the incoming lightning strike. My sword glows brightly and cancels the lightning out, forming another large shockwave, sending me backwards again. Before I can use my wings to balance myself, Adton rushes forward through the shockwave and swings his swords at me. Before I can react, Adton disarms me. I try to hold onto my sword, but fail as he twists it out of my hands. I land on the ground as I lost focus on trying to use my wings. I try to get up as Adton stands above me, pointing one of his swords at my face. I stare into his eyes, now having returned to normal, as he smiles in victory. If I really wanted to, I could shoot another plasma blast at him. I then accept the defeat as Adton sheathes both of his swords and reaches out his hand to help me up. I grab his hand and pull him to the ground as I move on top of him and stand the exact way he stood above me. That's not fair, Atten says while laughing. I wasn't trying to be, I tell him while helping him up. Before we can talk more, the guards begin surrounding us as they point their weapons at us. I look off behind the crowd of guards and see my sword lying on the ground. Really? Atten then tries to calm the situation by not wielding his weapons as the guards start to arrest us. I'm sorry, dude, but I need my sword. I then spread out my wings and fly up to where my sword is and grab it. Once I hold my sword, I turn around to see Atten getting arrested. You have got to learn when to fight back, man. I then fly over to where Atten is to free him from the guards. I then hover above all the guards as I point my sword down at them, demanding them to let Atten go. Let him go, guys. We don't want to do this the hard way, I tell them while looking at all the guards. The guards then refuse as they stand their ground, getting ready to fight. I then shoot a plasma beam towards the ground, sending all the guards flying back. I fly down to Atten and cut the chains, tying his hands together. Thanks, Atten says while reactivating his powers. Atten's eyes glow blue once again as lightning crackles around him as he shoots up into the sky. I guess it's time to leave. I then fly to the bag I set on the ground and follow soon after him, flying up into the sky, looking down towards the ground. It's been a while since I flew this high. Honestly, I need to work on some of my fighting techniques. Flying out of the arena, I take a look at the view of the kingdom that looks beautiful from up high, as a flock of birds fly next to one of the church bell towers. While flying, I see Atten land just outside the Colosseum and kneel on the ground while he tries to catch his breath. I then maneuver my wings in a way I can glide down next to him. Once I hit the solid ground, I run up next to him to check on him. You okay? I ask Atten while putting my hand on his back. Yeah. It's just my powers exhaust me when I use them for too long. Hence why I try to end fights quickly. Because after a while, I just get tired. He looks while out of breath. Do you need me to help you up? I ask him while looking behind me. No, I'm good now. We just need to find cover, he says while standing up. Because I hear some soldiers and guards... I read that completely wrong. Behind us, I hear some soldiers and guards spot us. Over there, one of them says while pointing us out. Not good. Time to go, I tell Atten as we start running. We begin to run through the streets, taking random turns and entering random alleys. We occasionally have to move around a large crowd of people as we try to find a building to hide ourselves for a little while. People stop to clear a path as they watch us run past them. Where is a place we can stay in that isn't open to the public and would not look like a place for criminals to hide in? We keep running until eventually we find an animal barn with a small grouping of trees to the left of it, enough trees to conceal us there for a day or two. I tell Atten to settle in next to the animal barn until we can come up with another plan and recuperate from the battle. We enter the grouping of trees next to the barn and set our stuff on the ground as we make sure to hide our stuff behind a bush. This will have to do for now. And there we go, chapter 7 and 8. I'm going to have to do some edits after this because, wow, man, the very first 2 sentences of chapter 7, bro, what is this? But yeah, anyways, time for author comments now. So yeah, chapter 7 and 8, these are really cool chapters to write. I like chapter 7 and 8. You get to finally, the secret's out. The secret is out. Atten does indeed have magic. And holy cow, it is a freaking epic display. And now we're actually in the first actual fight scene in this book series. Oh, I loved writing this. And kind of get another flashback scene, with Nyx and her father. So I mean, you're starting to slowly get some more lore about the Dragon Knights, which is always cool. But yeah, so Nyx gets this metallic purple armor. It's really not anything special. It could just be iron just with a purple coloring to it. I don't know, I just thought it was a cool coloring choice, and having a gold shoulder plate. Obviously her sword glows purple and it's black when it's not glowing, so I was I think purple is a really good color scheme for her to have. And then Atten, I like how I had Atten explain that he was that he was not much of a shield guy, which actually there's a slight allusion to Kirito from Sword Art Online, because I kind of like the idea of, shield will just slow me down. I don't wear armor because, same thing, it would just slow me down. Atten is so reliant on his speed and agility to really win fights quickly. And, you kind of get to learn. So you're learning a little bit more about the powers now. You get to actually see the magic in action. So, yeah, we get to see Nyx with her dragon wings and her ability. So she has this plasma, this purpley plasma magic, which is really cool. This is the part of the book that it's really going to get interesting from here. Like you make it to chapter 7 and 8, it really starts taking off from here. But yeah, you get Nyx's abilities. She's able to just kind of manipulate plasma into really whatever she needs. She could just do like a plasma blast, or she can make like a little plasma shield. And it's interesting that these two characters that have kind of gotten to know each other over these couple of days. It's interesting that their personalities are a little bit different, and their magic even cancels out. So like the lightning and plasma, they kind of cancel each other out. They just kind of form a shockwave. I mean, it makes sense because lightning is made of plasma. So I mean, I always just thought that made sense. But keep that in mind. Keep that in mind that their magic cancels each other out. I have this like really nice poetic meaning with that. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. You get to see this whole. I got to go back through and kind of edit this a little bit more because I'm noticing there's a lot of. I could just write this better, which I'm going to have to really rewrite this first book, make it sound better. But yeah, what do you all think of the lightning scene? Like, I got really detailed whenever Nyx got hit with the lightning. Like, I was like, I had to get really detailed. Like, and I guarantee my Google searches are probably suspicious because like I'd be randomly like looking up like. What do people describe the feeling of getting struck by lightning as, or being electrocuted? So I kind of I did my research. All right. I did my research for this. So yeah, it's like, it's brutal, man. Like I'm kind of like sizzles. I'm like, I can feel the just, yeah, it's even making me cringe just thinking about it. But yeah, she gets straight up hit. Like Adton just straight up hits her with a freaking lightning bolt. Not cool from Adton's part. But yeah, and then they have this epic battle to kind of test their mind. And Adton, it's interesting because Adton wins, but you kind of get Nyx in her mind saying, I could just totally shoot another thing of plasma at him and just beat him right there. So we still kind of don't know the full illusion of who's better. I mean, I think probably people are going to think Nyx is the better fighter. And it's more so like they're both really good at certain aspects of combat. So they're actually pretty evenly matched. So there's really no like one is better than the other, but I don't know, that's a, you'll get to see more of this. So yeah, we're at chapter 7 and 8, and there's this interesting tie-in with, Nyx and her brother who took her brother who attacked her village, and Adton's like, so the Flareans, which are the Tians that have the fire magic. So the thing with the Tians is each group of Tians, like the Tians tend to be in groups. So all of the Tians that have lightning magic stay in a group. All the Tians with fire magic stay in a group. So you have all these different groups of Tians that have all these different magics. And so now we kind of get learning that the Flareans could be working with the Halatians and, the people that's dwelling there in hell, in the realm of hell. So, I mean, it's an interesting... I'll leave you guys to figure out if that's true, and if not, what that looks like, because Adton did have a very interesting comment about that. So there's a lot of things that's looking interesting. We're starting to kind of get some build up here. Now you're starting to actually get to see what this book series is really going to start getting about. This book series, despite what the first couple of chapters may look like, it's not about just these two just kind of messing around. You're really starting to see what's happening. But yeah, I hope you enjoy these two chapters. My voice is already gone, and this was actually a shorter one. I was actually done with this in 23 minutes, which is usually short, but with the author commentary, it's a couple minutes more. But yeah, like I said, put any comments. I haven't gotten a single comment in any of these videos so far, but I'd like to know thoughts. Where you think it's going. Again, favorite characters. We really didn't get to see any new characters in this one, so just more Adton and Nyx. You get a lot of character development with them. But yeah. Tell me what you guys think is going to happen. We got a lot more chapters ahead to see what happens. So they just escaped. They just fought each other in front of most of Hyvalon. So most of Hyvalon just got to see this epic battle, and now they're currently on the run because obviously, magic is illegal in the kingdoms, and if they get caught, they're going to get executed. They just got lucky that their form of quote unquote execution was they got to fight each other. But they obviously didn't know that Adton had magic. And they kind of only slightly assumed that Nyx had magic because he was a Dragon Knight. So I don't think they expected that to happen. But anyways, have a nice night. I will see you guys in 2 weeks for chapters 9 and 10. And let me tell you, chapters 9 and 10 are a very different vibe than these two chapters. So be prepared for that. But anyways, adios. See you in 2 weeks.